In the early 1920s, in the German Navy, Reichsmarine, plans for new submarines were made. In 1922, in order to circumvent the Treaty of Versailles, a front company was founded in the Netherlands. In its service were many submarine developers. The company shared its knowledge to many countries, including Finland, and gathered submarine know-how for the German Navy. In 1930s, the core of the Finnish Navy was formed by coastal defense ships. Submarines were also very important. They served as prototypes for the Germans. German experts were important in the development of the submarines. The Grey Wolves, the captains of the Kriegsmarine, also trained on the Finnish boats. The Finnish Navy had 5 submarines. The 3 biggest were Vetehinen-class boats, Vetehinen, Vesihiisi and Ikuturso. There were also small Saukko and a coastal submarine Vesikko. Vetehinen-class submarines were meant for mine laying and had a weak torpedo armament. They could carry 20 naval mines and only 6 torpedoes. Their complement were 30 men. They were advanced versions of the World War I era UC-3 mine-laying submarines. Vesikko was a smaller coastal submarine which had 3 torpedoes. The complement was 19 or 20 men. Vesikko was a prototype for the German Type II submarine. When Saukko was built, it was the world's smallest submarine by tons. Its complement was only 15. It was originally meant for Lake Ladoga, which was split between Finland and Soviet Union, but it ended up to the Baltic Sea. It had 6 mines and only 2 torpedoes. Political tension and threat of war grew in Europe in the late 1930s. The Treaty of Non-Aggression between Germany and Soviet Union was signed in August 1939, and a secret protocol defined the borders of Soviet and German spheres of influence in the event of possible rearrangement of territories belonging to Poland, the Baltic states and Finland. When Soviet Union accused Finland from attacking it with artillery at Mainila, the end of peace was near. Soviet Union renounced the non-aggression pact between it and Finland 29th of November 1939. The Winter War had begun. The task of the Finnish submarines was the defense of Åland, blocking of Soviet vessels from Bay of Bothnia and to secure trade routes to the west. They also had to be ready for a possible invasion to the Hanko region. In 30th November, the Soviet air forces bombed the outer islands of the Bay of Finland and civilian and military targets in southern Finland. Every one of the Finnish submarines were also attacked. 3 Soviet bombers attacked Finnish vessels that were anchored at Högsoora. Ikuturso, Vetehinen and supply ship Suomen Joutsen were present. Anti-aircraft fire from the other ships drove away the bombers. The submarines didn't even have time to open fire. During the same day, Vesihiisi and Vesikko were ordered to attack Soviet cruiser Kirov and 2 escorting destroyers, which were spotted near Hiiumaa, traveling north. Vesihiisi and Vesikko arrived to the front of Hanko, where a battle between Soviet ships and the coastal artillery of the Russaro Island was going on. Vesikko tried to maneuver into attacking position, but failed because it had to evade incoming shells. One of the destroyers and the cruiser were damaged in the battle. Kirov released a smoke screen and the Soviets retreated. It was feared that the Soviets would try to take Berezovia Islands in the eastern Bay of Finland. Therefore, Saukko and 3 motor torpedo boats were sent there. The mission was to lay mines to the Soviet invasion routes and to sink enemy targets with torpedoes. On 10th December, a Gangut-class Soviet battleship shelled the islands. Saukko tried to get to an attacking position in thick fog, but failed because of icy sea. On 19th December, Vesikko arrived to the northern point of Berezovia Islands. Now there was another Gangut-class battleship present. The battleships, other Soviet vessels and Soviet air forces sailed the island. The captain of Vesikko concluded that it was best to attack after sunset. He waited, but when Vesikko began advancing, the Soviets had already left the area. The Finnish Navy received an information from Finland's Gothenburg's consulate in Sweden that a Soviet 8,700-ton icebreaker was spotted traveling from Murmansk to the Baltic Sea. Vetehinen was ordered to sink it. On 7th December, Vetehinen was near the port of Liepaja when the icebreaker appeared from the south. However, the ship disappeared because of rain. After half an hour, rain ended and the ship appeared again. Vetehinen didn't launch its torpedoes. On the journey back, a Soviet submarine Shuka 324 attacked Vetehinen with a torpedo but missed. The crew of Vetehinen didn't even notice the attack. On 12th December, Vetehinen was sent again to hunt for the icebreaker, as it was known to move from Liepaja to Tallinn. Vetehinen patrolled near Hiiumaa for 2 days without finding the ship. It returned to Fliesö on 15th December. On 7th December, Ikutursa was ordered to travel to the coast of Sweden in order to sink a 6,000-ton Soviet merchant ship. Ikutursa patrolled the shipping route to Stockholm but didn't find its target because it camouflaged itself into a Latvian merchant ship. Until 24th December, all of the Finnish submarines remained at base because Soviet Union had launched a major attack against Finland, and it was feared that a Soviet landing could take place. On 25th December, WWII was ordered to lay mines on the front of the port of Paldiski. The journey to the coast of Estonia was freezing. On 27th December, WWII submerged near the port of Paldiski and laid 19 mines. After that, it returned to the base at Husö. At the same time, Ikutursa traveled towards the Latvian coast. It was ordered to patrol near Liepaja and find targets for a torpedo attack, but didn't find any. On the 1st of January 1940, Vetehinen laid mines off the Juminda Peninsula. After laying successfully 20 mines, it patrolled 3 days on the mouth of the Bay of Finland and the western waters from it. There it encountered a Soviet destroyer and crash dived. However, ice had formed on the outside of the pressure hull and Vetehinen had become lighter. That slowed down the diving and the keel of the advancing destroyer hit the conning tower of Vetehinen. However, Vetehinen survived. It returned to Husö after the incident. On the early days of January 1940, the winter became exceptionally cold and the whole Baltic Sea began to freeze. On 9th January 1940, Vetehinen and Ikutursa began their last patrols of the Winter War. Vetehinen's patrol ended as one of its engine's cylinder damaged. It had to return to the base. Ikutursa patrolled for 4 days without results near Hiiumaa and Saaremaa and returned to Husö. This was the last Finnish submarine patrol of the Winter War. However, some action occurred as a submarine fleet was bombed in Husö on 12th January. Vetehinen crash dived. All of the submarines were undamaged in the attack. The Finnish submarines were active only 5 weeks during the Winter War because of very cold winter. During 12 patrols, not a single torpedo was launched. The Soviet Baltic Fleet failed in its goal of cutting Finnish trade routes to the west. 20 Soviet submarines sank only 5 merchant ships. Finland lost parts of its lands to Soviet Union, including Hanko, where Soviets established a naval base.